Another question I get asked from time to time is how long does it take to sell things on eBay? And that's another one of these questions where there isn't a real answer necessarily, because I guess the answer is it depends. No one item is the same, so it really depends on what you have, what kind of condition it's in, and how you price it. Because I could sell anything on eBay within an hour if I priced it appropriately. If I had, let's say, a Dymo, I got one sitting right here, a Dymo label writer printer. It's a thermal printer. They're in demand. They're worth several $100s. If I priced it for 20 bucks, I guarantee you it would sell within 5 minutes. It would just be gone. So I don't think what people are asking when they ask is how long does it take for something to sell on eBay? I think what they're really asking is, what are some good things to sell on eBay that tend to sell quickly? And how do I price items to make a nice profit and have them move relatively quickly so that I'm not sitting on things? So I think that's the real question that's wrapped up in that initial question. And as I touched on, one of the things that goes into it is pricing. So what you have to do is look at what things are selling for. And the way you do that is you look at completed listings on eBay and to see what they've sold for. And you see how many completed listings or sold listings, really, not just completed, but sold. How many of these items have sold? Look at what price they've sold at versus how many are still listed for sale. And I'll show you what that looks like right now. All right, so let's take a look at this Minolta SRT 201 camera. And the reason for that is because I just bought one today. It's sitting here on my desk, so it's a good example. The first thing we want to do is obviously put it in the search block, bring up the items, and then you want to make sure that you have selected used, because it's a used camera and it works. I've tested it. And then make sure that you have set to buy it now. I don't generally sell on auction. That's a different market. If you want to sell on auction, then obviously you'd select auction, but I generally don't encourage people to sell via auction. That's a whole other topic. So buy it now, generally, make sure it's used, and I can see what the listings are priced at. And it's kind of all over the board here, depending upon the condition of the item, how many things it has with it, accessories. Here we've just got a body at 34. Up here at the 104, it's in good shape, and it's got a lot more items with it. And if we keep scrolling, we can see different prices. And this is where some eBayers make a mistake. They base their pricing decision on what the prices are for the items that are listed for sale, but you don't want to do that. So I can see that there's 135 of these Minolta cameras listed. But what I want to do now is I want to go to advanced, then check on sold, not just completed. Completed will give you items that have sold and items that expired and did not sell. So you want to click on sold. Again, make sure it's buy it now and used, and now click search. And I can see now that 81 of these cameras have sold. And this is over the last 90 days. So these search results are for 90 days. If you want results going back further than 90 days, you have to go to Terapeak on eBay. So now I look at these, and the green tells you that they did in fact sell. And now you can start looking at what the items actually sell for, what accessories they have with them, what the condition is, and then start to get a good sense of what your item might need to be priced at. Now, unfortunately, this camera is a little bit all over the board because we got bodies only at 35, then we got some nice lenses at 55, a whole kit here for 123, but it gives you an idea where you need to be. But what we do with these two numbers here, the 81 and the 135, remember the 135 is how many items are listed, this is how many have sold. We divide the 81 by 135, and that comes out to be 0.6 or 60%. We've got about a 60% sell-through rate in a 90-day period, which isn't fantastic, but it's not bad for something like this, especially since I know that my camera has got a flash and it's got the lens, and so it's a nicer item, and I've got some room to price it. I only paid it for 15 bucks. So that's how you figure out how often things are selling. What you really want to see, what would be ideal, is to see that 81 of these cameras have sold and only, say, 10 are listed, because then you've got a fantastic sell-through rate, because there's way more have sold in 90 days than are actually listed. So that means that people are just snapping them up as soon as they hit the market. So if you can find something like that, so much the better. I like to see 50% sell-through rate. is a general rule of thumb. But this is the way you figure out where you should price things. And there's no magic formula that I'm aware of. Maybe somebody else would say they know something, but you just take a look here at the cameras and figure out where you want it to be based upon what you're seeing is selling. So that's how we figure out how we want to price an item. Then some things that come into the consideration about, well, you say, I've got this camera and it looks like maybe I could price it for 55 to 70 would kind of be the range with the flash and everything. But I really want it to move. So I'm going to come in at 50, let's say, just hypothetically. So that's below the market really for what we're right at the very bottom of the market for what my item is. So it's much more likely to sell at that price point than if I said, well, I want to get top dollar for it based upon what it looks like. Maybe I'm going to put it at 75. It might eventually sell for 75, but it might take a while. And some other factors that go into helping things sell are also how good your descriptions are, how good your pictures are, what your feedback score is, things like that. Those can all make people be willing to pay a little bit more for an item than from somebody that doesn't have as good pictures or as good as description or as good as feedback score. So that's how we go about figuring out where to price something. But I want to get to kind of the other part of the question is people want to know what are some good things to sell. And some good things to sell, if you just want to be on the lookout for these, just quickly a few things to put in your back pocket that tend to sell quickly are, like I mentioned, those Dymo printers. Those can sell very quickly. They're thermal printers, and eBay resellers use them. Anybody that's printing shipping labels will often use them, but you can print all sorts of labels with them. So it's DYMO. Those sell well. And then also Canon PowerShot point and shoot cameras. Those can sell in less than a day if you get the right model. And again, if you price it at market, they can sell in less than a day, in a couple of days. And I picked them up for $15 and flipped them anywhere from frequently $75 to $130 or so. It just depends on the model. Sony Discman vintage electronics. You can find these in thrift stores regularly. Those will also move very quickly, again, if you have them priced appropriately. KitchenAid mixers are another one that are very popular. The older ones can sell, but they take a little bit longer. But as long as it's relatively recent and not beat up, KitchenAid mixers can sell really quickly. Now, the downside to them is if you're selling them on eBay, they can be a big pain in the butt to pack up and ship, but there is a market for them. You can sell them on Facebook Marketplace or sell them locally, and they can move very rapidly as well. And then TI calculators. I talk about TI calculators a lot in these videos. Those can move very rapidly. Sometimes I've had them many times sell within 10 minutes of listing them. It's kind of weird. And that's usually around school semester getting ready to start because people are looking for calculators. But if you find the TI 83 Plus, the TI 84 Plus, or the TI 89s, those can sell in a matter of days or maybe a week, worst case scenario, if it's not beginning of semester start. But you price them, you can make good margin on them depending on what you pick them up at. I've got some other videos that talk about them. But those are just a few things to keep your eye out for things that can move quickly when you are thrifting and selling on eBay. Obviously, there are many more items that can sell rapidly. It would be an exhaustive list to try to put them all together. So with that, happy thrifting.
If you are an eBay reseller or thinking of becoming one because of debt, you should check out the Financial Acumen course, as seen on World Business with Kathy Ireland. The Financial Acumen course is designed to teach you all the things you never learned about money, debt, and investments in school, but should have. It teaches you how to take control of your finances with proven principles and strategies to get out of debt and build your retirement nest egg for a wealthy lifestyle. The course is fully narrated and includes videos and animations along with exercises and assignments that are supported by a downloadable workbook. And I spent an afternoon discussing it with supermodel turned businesswoman Kathy Ireland. You can see that conversation over at yourdebtfreefuture.com. The course is not giving financial advice. It is simply teaching concepts that will supercharge your financial literacy and make you more money savvy. To get started, head over to yourdebtfreefuture.com. Until next time, happy thrifting.